Ilhan Omar has opened up about the massive fraud scandal in Minnesota where hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars that was supposed to be going to feeding hungry children was actually funding lavish lifestyles, being sent overseas to Somalia, and even reportedly ending up in the hands of terrorists. And as we spoke about last week, most of the people involved in this huge fraud scandal are from Minnesota's Somali community. But according to Ilhan Omar, Somalis are the real victims in all of this.
Of the 87 people charged, all but 8 are of Somali descent. And that has added to the spotlight being put specifically on your community. Why do you think this fraud was allowed to get so widespread?
Well, I want to say, this also has an impact on Somalis because we are also taxpayers in Minnesota. We also could have benefited from the program and the money that was stolen. And so it's been really frustrating.
And what does Ilhan Omar have to say about the allegations that American taxpayer dollars were being funneled to a foreign terrorist organisation?
House Republicans and the Treasury Secretary just now talked about a link to terrorism, a possible link. He said they're just now beginning to look into it. How confident are you that that's a false claim?
I'm pretty confident at the moment because there are people who have been prosecuted and who have been sentenced. If there was a linkage in that the money that they had stolen going to terrorism, then that is a failure of the FBI and our court system in not figuring that out and basically charging them with these charges.
I mean, she's giggling and just laughing it off. Why is she laughing? There are right now serious questions about how much Ilhan Omar knew about this fraud scandal in her district. Ilhan Omar introduced the bill that led to $250 million in fraud, but she says she was unaware of any wrongdoing. The New York Post is reporting that Ilhan Omar partied at one of the key restaurants named in the fraud case. This is the Safari restaurant. Its co-owner, Salim Ahmed Said, was found guilty in August of stealing over $12 million for claiming to serve thousands of meals during COVID, but instead of feeding hungry children, he was actually pocketing millions of dollars. And according to prosecutors, he blew much of that money on a $2 million mansion and on a $9,000 a month shopping spree. And as taxpayers were being scammed during COVID, Ilhan Omar appeared at that restaurant to praise the program. Another person, Gahad Hashi Said, who worked on Ilhan Omar's campaigns, pleaded guilty earlier this year to claiming to serve 5,000 meals a day, but instead was pocketing more than $3 million. And how close were they? Well, they attended events together. Here they are smiling for selfies to put up on Facebook. And now the White House is warning that this Somali-linked fraud scandal in Minnesota that took place under Governor Tim Walz's watch is likely far worse than we think. Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller says that this may just be the tip of the iceberg.
Based on what we have found so far, we believe that the Somali fraud operation in Minnesota is the single greatest theft of taxpayer dollars through welfare fraud in American history. We believe that we have only scratched the very top of the surface of how deep this goes. And you're familiar with all the scams with pretending that children have autism who are not in fact autistic, with pretending to enroll people in food programs when in fact nobody was ever enrolled, and engaging in massive fraud, lying, and theft and grift on a scale we've never seen before in American history. The total bill, the total tab for this is going to be far beyond the numbers we've already seen reported. We believe the state government is fully complicit in this scheme, and we believe that what we are going to uncover is going to shock the American people.
Stephen Miller also noted that 75% of the Somali population in Minnesota is on welfare. And while Ilhan Omar wants Minnesota's Somali community to play the victim, it's worth noting that her net worth has skyrocketed since she's been in Congress, despite denying claims that she is in fact a millionaire earlier this year. Her latest financial disclosure shows that she had a reported net worth of up to $30 million. Her and her husband experienced a roughly 3,500% increase in net worth last year compared to 2023. Wow. And finally, what does Ilhan Omar make of the Trump administration's concerns around mass migration and the expectation that migrants assimilate and adopt American values? Well, she suggests that Stephen Miller is a Nazi.
What do you make of this argument of failure to assimilate and sort of ruining America? How do you understand this?
I mean, when I think about Stephen Miller and his white supremacist rhetoric, it reminds me, yes, it reminds me of the way the Nazis described Jewish people in Germany.